We got ourselves Barrel. Oh, first one up versus Jada. Oh, Jada Maker. What is your mod? What is your... I was thinking there was something wrong with your set for a second. I was like, did the textures load in? Is that like some kind of untextured set? No, it's actually just like white pants, white shirt. Really pale elf, so it looks kind of all gray. It is going to be a quick volley down, unable to really get a lot of that pressure behind the wall, but Jada poking out for a second just to get a couple instances, diving back behind the pillar, avoiding the freezing trap, just to make sure to give himself some damage. Meteor around the corner, does get the stun trigger to follow. Rapid fire is just going to try to see if he can live it. Shields to follow. It is continuing just to see if he can deal with the damage that he's taken. Got himself a couple of those frostfire bolts, couple of procs, barrel super low, going for a scatter for a second. It's going to be a silence. Aim shot does go for the block. Just needs one more hit. One more lance will do it. Flurry is the play. Oh my god, that was actually so close. The Hunter, I feel like the Hunter played as good as it could, but honestly, they're probably going to have an easier time with their with marksman once a new season is around the corner, because they'll have a better version of volley and will miss out any of their damage. Hi, what's up, Bustius? How you doing, but we are having a good one. Dots are up on a Jada, does go for a blink, Garrote to follow, another block. This is what Toxic likes to do against casters. He'll just chain those Garrotes back to back, let the silences roll for a while. It is super powerful as assassination. It does mean you have to be very careful with your stealth. Does catch himself a reset without vanishes. Ultra was up for Jaina, as that is the second block. No more trinket, no more nothing. So for Toxie, the only thing he's missing right now is a full death mark. Step back up to Jaina, does go for a Nova. That is going to be Kingsbane on top of it. Kid shot to follow him. Jaina does have shields with a stun. That's going to be down for the count though. Oh, with the Cloak of Shadows, Toxie does make an escape. That can't really be stopped, but Eloise going to be up next. That is rough, man. The Jaina mage did everything they could. But with that Cloak of Shadows, there's literally no counter for that. Cheap shots continue to spam back to back towards Eloise, who's trying to see if they can return the favor with a trinket. Blind out for Toxic, just looking for a bit of a reset. Looking for a sap, I think, if at all possible. Eloise should be able to spot him with Spectral Sight. Dropping down the Sigil on top of them. Waiting for Spectral, I think, to come back and cool down. Spectral, since it no longer breaks the damage, it does become a little bit more consistent. Gonna be that Garrote into try to go to see if he can get the dots without breaking the sap. Does go following up with a cheap shot stun by Eloise. Will need to make a play. Drop it down. Oh! I don't really know what killed Eloise. I know they were dotted. They had a couple of bleeds on them, but then someone just smacked you for a ton. And Sayro is going to be up next as a Paladino. I like the Bardish you got going on. I actually, when I was doing like the trading post video for that weapon, I actually had to be like, what is a Bardish? How do you even say Bardish? Is it Bardish or Bardich? And actually, you could say one or the other. So are the Bardish with a little bit of a sh or Bardich? Just like make it, give it like a hard ending. That's going to be hopefully not a hard ending for Sayro. The full death mark is in. Bleeds are coursing through the veins. Sayro not feeling that good. Trying to go for flashlights. If Toxie somehow gets a step kick. Oh, Garrote pressured. Yeah, Bob to follow him. If he went for a kick with over Garrote, I actually think he would have definitely been able to get probably maybe a kill onto Sayro. That was a lot of damage still rolling for a while. He went with the Garrote because in mind probably it's like, oh, they're interchangeable, right? It stops the cast. Kick locks him out, where Garrote just silences him. So as long as you have a break to break past it, you'll be good. Trinket out for Toxie, maybe looking for a cloak here. Kingsbane to follow. Sayro with the Shield of Vengeance. It's going to be a cloak, trying to see if he can trade a bubble for it. Sayro getting super low, does go for the bubble. Toxie looking for an escape, managed to follow with flashlight spam for Sayro. And right now, Toxie just doesn't have much of an answer. Question is, do you just go back in as soon as the bubble is over just to get the bleeds going? Or do you just wait it out? Because now you need to get an escape for a stun. Garrotes are in. Kid a shot. That's going to help you a little bit. Sayro does not have an out for a second. That is going to be wall just to live a little bit. Garrotes to follow cheap shot right after. Maybe have one more Garrote under you. There goes a stun. That's an opportunity for Sayro with a hammer. Does not play the Dawn Light. That's going to be movement out for Toxie with a gouge. Trying to see if he can potentially end this. Sayro still with a lay on hands. Toxie does try to go for a reset with a blind. Looking for that runaway. Looking for that runaway. This is what I was talking about. Like, he's going to need to have some kind of an answer here. I forgot about laying hands. I honestly did not even think about it. I was thinking from perspective of Bop, Bubble. Okay, then you're in the clear, but no, you're definitely not in the clear. Sap out for Toxie. She's gonna have to hang back a bit, man. He needs a Trinket or a Cloak of Shadows to fight Sayro. Next stun is gonna be super deadly. For Sayro, the ball is in their court. Toxie might be able to press... oh, you're not fate bound. He might be able to press evasion just to reduce some magic damage. This is huge. Sayro taking a lot of dot damage. That is the Kingsbane and everything. Blind to follow. Just try to see if he can chain damage. That's going to be a bit of damage. Wake of Ashes out for Sayro. Gouged by Toxie. Just trying to see if he can walk away from the Shield of Vengeance. Trying to see if he can pop it from a distance. Toxie looking to pop it on top of him with a hammer to follow up. Do you have anything left? Disarm, cheat death, kidney. Just trying to see if he can walk out of there. Thank goodness it's not a Dawnlight Paladin. Otherwise, Dawnlight, I think, would have just been over. Although the hammer damage... I did miss it. It can do quite a little bit here, man. Dueling in Templar. You know what? I miss Paladins when there were Templars. Bro, they would walk in and 5 crit somebody every single game. In solos, it was insane. Now everybody has to play Dawnlight, and Dawnlight is really good. Herald is really, really good. And Templar can also do really well still. You know, just not in 1v1 content. I do miss when you guys were playing Templar and just crushing each other with some huge crits on Templar. Which I actually think maybe Templar with that tier set, with that crit damage and scaling or whatever, might be back, dude. That might be back, though. I think it could potentially be making a return. As you'll have like a bunch of hammers flying in, cleaving people, main hammer for 35% more damage. It's just a lot. Cloak Shadows for Toxie, unable to get stunned. I wonder if Sayro only sunk a stun. Well, they're so low, but Toxie does make a miraculous escape. Oh, he has a vanish. He may want to use a vanish. He got hit with a Curse of Exhaustion. May still need a vanish versus Rick does not use it. Rick, oh my, what are those shoulders? I think he's using a toy, right? The cloak toy. Eyes are not available for either side. Toxie at least can just chill behind the pillar. Does he have eyes? No. Pet gets sapped, so I think at this point, Rick, if he's careful, he should know where the pet is, so he knows more or less where the rogue is. He's just going to put his back up against the wall. Toxie does not have a Cloak of Shadows anymore. I think he's going to need it in order to dodge a Mortar Coil. He may need it. Eyes are up. Can't go for a sap, but the pet is going to get him out of combat immediately into a Axe Toss. Fear AoE, so no Mortar Coil. Toxie can still catch himself a reset with a Vanish. If he goes quick enough, Vanish might need to come out immediately. Does go for that reset Vanish. Eyes is still up though. Shadow Melt for a second. May need to use evasion on all these pets. Honestly, he's just going to shift, try to see if he can walk away from them. Blind is available, but that Doom proccing, not feeling great. Sprinting just to get away from pets. Does still get hit from a distance. He just does not have an angle at all here. Maybe just press evasion and live, but no. No, not with that Doom ticking down on you. With Hardcore, actually this name is Hardcore, is going to be up next as a Paladino. Just charging in on the snail. Moving very... I feel like a snail should move slow though. I was going to say moving very slowly, but it's actually just normal mount speed. Fear onto Hardcore from Rick. Trying to see if he can get himself some kind of a little bit of a setup here. Hand of Gul'dan's Shadow Fury. He just needs CC. It's going to be immunity for magic out for Hardcore. It is going to be a gateway out for Rick. He just got to AFK for a handful of seconds while that immunity is in play. As Rick just trying to see if he can back up out of there as best as possible. He just needs to get himself a little bit more pets. Tyrant is in play too, so you just got to get himself the Fiend, some doggos, and just AFK with a Tyrant. Just try to see if he can stay ahead of Hardcore as best as possible. Hit him with the Fear. This puts Hardcore in a situation where he could potentially bubble early to break out of the Fear. That's exactly what it does. Does go for Wake of Ashes, almost expecting Rick to go for a port immediately. Rick is just out here in the open getting some cast off or two. He's actually perfectly fine just getting cast off because Hardcore is out in the open with all the demons with a Pitlord doing damage to you, blinding some of those pets. He could go for a Tyrant if he wanted to. I don't think he's going to go for it. Axe does to lock him out. It's just over. AoE Fear really quick just to lock out Hardcore into yet another Fear. Ruination. I think it's going to connect, right? Did no damage. For a big old meteor, Ruination just feels like it does no damage. Maybe numerically it actually is significant enough, but it just feels like the guy's health bar does not move at all. Does rip the soul out of Paladin's body, reducing his damage and healing by a little bit. I think like 25%. Which is going to be helpful. Still a pretty steady Dawnlight burning through Rick, who's having to use a wall here, just spamming Shadow Bolts into a Fear onto Hardcore, looking for him for a quick pet summon. but still might be in a bit of a rough spot. Chaining those fears onto hardcore just to keep the control going. Could go for the axe toss. Tyrant is going to be in play. Hardcore, as long as he can get some damage onto Rick. He doesn't have any more immunities though. I don't think he has even forbearance either. No, he does not. But Rick just ends up piling everything on him, with Cobra going to be up next. Charging in. Rick with the Dark Pack, porting out of the way. Does have the AoE fear. Getting the port on the Mortal Coil is actually huge for him. It just avoids being able to being put out in the open in a weird spot. AoE fear on the Succubus for a second when he was next to it, with a Reflect though for Cobra, as he's just looking to potentially just charge in, pop it defensive, just stay in. Axe toss locking him out on Chaos Bolt is massive. Rick does not have a port, I don't think. He's going to take one of those Chaos Bolts to the face, looking for a fear. Does connect with the fear, but that another Infernal leaping in there is going to take it down. What is this? Name. Open. What is your name? Open with an opener. We'll just call him Open for a little bit, yeah? That's going to be your nickname. I'm not going to say the entire thing. Or Gabe. Call him Gabe. It's almost like Gabe, but like Gabriel, but with a P. The B is perverted. You know what I mean? Ambush is out, trying to get some damage in. Cobra just doesn't have anywhere to go right now, except he does. He does have only one way out of that situation, with a big old gateway. Gabe, he does end up going for blades. What is this effect in your blades? Is that shadow blades with those weapons? It looks kind of like wild. It's almost like the blade is extended into a Succubus CC for a second. Does put the rogue out in the open. Nothing he can really do except for vanish resets. So for Cobra, that's an opportunity to at least make something happen. Is going for Drain Life. I don't think it's going to help him that much. That shield from Drain is going to be a little helpful. But for Gabe, that's just a bit of a reset with the vanish. He just needs to get close enough. Sap to step Sap. Does see the Succubus out in the open. Cheap shot on the Succubus. Mortal Coil, however, does give him like a breather there. That's going to be an immolation. The Gabe does get to go rounding the bend behind the pillar. Succubus definitely needs to be sent in there to deny the rogue a reset. Instead, it's going to be Succubus and Infernal with a Chaos Mother barreling everything down behind the pillar. For Gabe right now, he doesn't have a cloak. He doesn't have much. Evasion may need to come out here just for that magic reduction from Deathstalker. Succubus catching him really quickly on his go. And just try to see if he can disrupt it as much as possible. Gabe, I think, might just go down here. Does get blasted. I think with an instant cast Infernal Bolt, Toxic picking up 3, man. Toxic picking up some mad damage. It is wild how good it is. I really got to see what he did to, like, what was that one guy that he like mutilated for a bunch of damage? It looked like a mutilated animation and just absolutely trucked him. I want to see more of that. Let's get us another one going here, boys, yeah?